Hello, welcome back to Chaos TV. How are you all doing? Pudge, your presenter here today, and I'm in the TV studio. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get in contact with us regarding anything going on the show today, maybe you just want to say hi, you can do all of these things by WhatsApping us or calling us on 01872 22 8844, but please get the bill payer's permission before you do so. You can also email us on hello@thisischaos.co.uk or catch us all across social media. We are at Chaos TV UK, and please use the hashtag #KeepItChaos. Now, maybe you're watching on Mixcloud or you want to watch on Mixcloud and chat with us at the same time, you can do so. Go to watchchaos.tv, click that Mixcloud button, and you're there. A big hello to all of our Facebook viewers now tuning in, and welcome back to Chaos TV. Welcome to our SEETEC hour as we continue our Be Kind to Your Mind hashtag campaign. As for this final week of the campaign, we are celebrating Time to Talk Day. This day is all about creating supportive communities by having conversations with family, friends or colleagues about mental health. We all have mental health, and hopefully by talking about it, we can support and encourage ourselves and others to talk amongst each other. It's so important. Coming up shortly, we have Jackie Lasser, a PLUSS change coach, who will be telling us more about the fantastic Empowering Women workshops that PLUSS are currently running, which are providing women a safe space to talk. Now, the Samaritans is a very well-known organisation which has been helping people for over 60 years. And in a moment, we shall be joined in the studio by William Essex from the Samaritans. But first, we have a short video featuring some of the lovely volunteers at the Samaritans. Let's take a look.
Coronavirus and the lockdown has made everything so much harder, accessing mental health services or just seeing your friends and family when normally they would be a massive support.
There's a lot of people who are calling because they're lonely, because they don't have anyone that they live with and they're not seeing anybody. And I think it's just been important to show them that they're not on their own.
You in your Samaritan role might be the only person that caller has spoken to all day.
The fact that we were there during that moment of loneliness and isolation, I think it was a beacon of hope.
It was quite apparent from a lot of the people I spoke to that we were almost like a last port of call.
In a time of uncertainty, the only certainty that the callers have had is the fact that our service is consistent and constant.
Being available to callers 24 hours a day is really important.
The reality is there are very few people that you can ring in the middle of the night.
It's a very simple thing we're offering, but I feel it has a dramatic influence on their anxiety levels at that point in time.
The support we have given to key workers, I think that has been a privilege, at least for me.
I've actually found it a bit of a lifeline for myself.
Yes.
Coming into it because I live on my own.
I've been self-isolating, and it's really kept me going and being still connected to the branch.
The branch is a community. It's a very, very, very important community to me.
I've been off work and I was off uni, and it gave me kind of a purpose.
All of these branches are connected and speaking to each other to ensure that between us, this service is available.
We're all strangers, but we all share this one wonderful thing.
I guess anyone can be a bit of a Samaritan in their own life. You can listen without judgment. You can really ask how someone's feeling. And you don't have to be an expert to do that. You just have to be a listening ear.
What a lovely video, and now I can quite happily say thank you very much for coming into the studio today.
You're most welcome, it's great to be here.
Thank you very much, William. Now, could you tell us a little bit about your role at Samaritans?
My role? Well, I was watching your video, our video I suppose it is, looking for the Truro branch. I didn't catch it, so maybe I looked away.
Oh, I see.
I'm with the Truro branch and I was hoping to see people I know. But I'm at the Truro branch in Cornwall, and I am the Deputy Director for Outreach and Community Engagement for the Truro branch of Samaritans.
Wow, so busy chap then.
Busy chap. They've also tacked on branch marketing officer and publicity officer and a variety of other things, but I'm not quite sure which bit I'm representing here. But
It's one of those
I'm
things.
all of those things.
Just keeps on going on and on.
Take your pick, yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, now obviously today we're supporting the Time to Talk Day,
Of course, yeah.
which is tomorrow, and we want to encourage people to start those conversations with friends, colleagues, family.
Sure, yeah.
But some people don't necessarily have that support network. How can the Samaritans help? We
can listen. The phone number is 116 123. I'll repeat that. 116 123. It doesn't. The crucial thing is it doesn't show up on the phone bill.
Okay.
It's confidential, private, and if you don't have people close to you to whom you can speak, or put it this way, if the family is the issue, call us.
That's
it doesn't
brilliant.
get back to you. Just call us. We'll listen. Whatever it is, if you feel you need to speak to somebody, but the somebodies you have available aren't the right somebodies, call us.
I love how very nicely put that was as well. Very, very unbiased. No, I completely understand. And I love the fact that it doesn't show up on the phone bill. That's fantastic.
That's something we've been mentioning recently because it's it's important.
Yeah.
You know, it's a private call, it's a confidential call, and therefore it doesn't show up on the phone bill.
Could be one of those barriers for people, I suppose, if they
It could
try
be.
not to be.
It could be, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, some people may be finding everyday life hard, and maybe they can't quite put their finger on what it is. I remember I've been there a few times. You wonder what's going on. You wonder why you're feeling like that. What would you say are the most common triggers for people who are struggling with their mental health?
People struggling with their mental health and people who are not necessarily struggling with their mental health, they face possibly isolation, they have issues with their family, they may have money worries, they may have relationship worries, they may be facing bereavement. These days, of course, they may well be worried about coronavirus and climate change. The difficulty I'm having with this question, the reason I'm slowing down as I answer it, is people have such a wide variety of issues that it would help them to share, I think is the way to put it.
Yes.
And one thing we never do is talk about the calls. Once you start, you only have to take 1 or 2 calls to realise it is the promise. You're never going to share. It's such a privilege to be on the phone call with a caller to the Samaritans, to be trusted, to be considered worthy of trust. I always get emotional in these situations. Don't panic. There are actors who can cry at will. I wish I could not cry at will, but it happens. And the answer really to your question is people ring up about absolutely everything. And what I would say to anybody is, if you feel that you need to talk about it, talk to us. You may think, oh, it's not a big enough problem, or they deal with more, worse problems. But actually, we're there for anybody who needs to talk.
Would you say, for something I always think about as well, is every person is different, and every person can deal with similar situations in very different ways, and that's no one's fault.
Something we absolutely do not do, and this is emphasised in the training we have, is we do not judge people. I put it this, if it bothers you, it bothers you. We will listen, because thinking that somebody is not going to take your problem seriously, that doesn't happen with us. We're there to listen to you. But that's a problem people have with their families. The thing we will never say, but it's not that difficult to hear in other contexts, is, oh, don't be silly, you won't do anything silly, will you? Oh. And the other thing, of course, you get with your family and so on is, oh, I had a problem like that and I dealt with it the following way, and so on and so forth. We'll listen. We'll take you seriously. We won't judge you. We accept that you've called us because you feel you need to call us, and we will honour that.
Beautiful, really, really beautiful. Now, the Samaritans are obviously well recognised as being an organisation where people get in touch by phone.
Yes.
But sometimes people struggling with talking in this way. How are the Samaritans able to offer support by other methods?
The email address is joe@samaritans.org, and that's jo@samaritans.org. And I would say, yes, we have callers who email and who say in their email, I'm not able to talk. I can't really speak to another human being on the phone. If you want to email us, please email us. It's also possible to write to us, and I think it's actually free post Samaritan letters, but I'm doing that from memory, and all the ways of communicating with us are at our website, which is samaritans.org, obviously www.samaritans.org.
Fantastic. And in case anyone does miss this show, we will do the contact details so we can signpost people towards all these details as well, just in case. We always make sure of that. So moving on, would you say there's been a significant increase in the calls to Samaritans? And has it been difficult as an organisation to cope with that demand if there has been?
A significant increase. The first thing to say in answer to that is that I suppose the way to put it is we never closed.
Yeah.
We're here 24 hours a day, every day of the year, and we are busy. We would love to invite people to volunteer with us, but yes, it's very busy. It's been very busy for years. We've perhaps a few more things to call about than we can take it. We're busy. We'd love you to join us, but we're here 24 hours a day, every day.
That is the sound of the face of someone who's like, yes, we've got this, we've got this, we've got this, but
the thing is this, that I think that any volunteer, and in the video you just watched, I think you can see this, any volunteer is willing to go the extra mile. I mean, it is so important what we do, and you only have to be with us a short while and take a few calls and you realise what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're talking to people and they are trusting us and they are sharing things that may have never been disclosed to another human being, things that they can't disclose to another human being. And believe me, it helps to talk. I mean, we all know that really, but in a Samaritan call, talking for an hour to one person, it's never going to come back to you. You have the chance to open up, bring air to, hear yourself discussing the deepest core problem that,
Absolutely, and sometimes even just that first stage can be such a stress relief to yourself, just hearing yourself finally talk about these feelings.
I think hearing yourself talk is it's not for me to say, but I have the impression that when people hear themselves talk, that is cathartic.
Yes.
But, it's not for me to say.
Of course. Yeah. Now, obviously, we talked about volunteers then. The Samaritans relies on volunteers. What would you say are the skills that are needed to become a volunteer? And how could people find out more about how to become a volunteer themselves?
The simplest answer to what skills do you need are you need to be a human being. I don't want to specify because we are open to anybody to volunteer with us. There is quite a rigorous training process, and some people in the course of that training process, we come to an understanding that perhaps it isn't for them at this point in their lives. But if you join the training process and you carry through it, it's a very fulfilling thing to be doing. And the answer to how do you volunteer is, one way is www.samaritans.org, but if you want to volunteer at the Truro branch, please do. And the telephone number, which I can remember it, it's 01872, but I'm glancing down because I have my crib sheet. I'm glancing down, it's 01872 222 321. And the important thing to say, I'll repeat that, 01872 222 321. The important thing to say is it will be an answer phone. Leave a message. I think within 3 hours it will have been listened to and a note will have been taken and somebody will contact you back.
That's fantastic. William, thank you so much for coming on and chatting to us.
Obviously,
you can see the passion behind what you do as well. It's lovely to see that because you need passion to be able to do the things that you want to do, and if you want to help people, you need to have that. So thank you so much and coming in and just bearing it all out for us.
Thanks very much for the opportunity.
Lovely. Now the Now, the PLUSS peer support group is a great way to talk in a safe and non-judgmental place, either just chatting virtually or just by having a physical walk with others, taking in that sea air. Here are Erin and Chris to tell us more about the seafront walks, which have helped them overcome anxieties and worries just by being in a comfortable and relaxed environment.
Peer support group offers a range of activities and different ways of support. Obviously, the main support is from the peers. So the fact that you're with people, you don't have to explain your history. Everyone's there with an understanding of mental health, although everyone's journeys are completely different.
Holly and currently Kat, my support advisors, who I've been privileged to have been working with for several months, have been invaluable to my progress. If it wasn't for them, then I would be in a real hole right now. PLUSS have given me the coaching, support, advice, counselling, friendly encouragement and chats, and above all, building on my confidence to undertake tasks and opportunities in the community.
I've made a lot of friends, and during the peer support groups I've been involved for quite a while, and it's amazing because everyone is from completely different backgrounds, completely different, careers or work, all different ages. I feel that my confidence has improved from being involved in the peer support group because when I'm not so good, my anxiety can be really high, but it's also, the peer support group has been a constant to kind of be somewhere to go when your anxieties are really high, and that you can just be yourself. So when you're finding it hard to be confident in the rest of your life, there's always somewhere to go when it's difficult at those points. But it was with PLUSS that they helped me then to kind of go forward to get the skills and experience to kind of apply for jobs, to look for jobs, experience with interviews. And then I was getting so much from the peer support group, and mental health's always been a big passion of mine partly because of my own experience, that I then actually went on with a few others in the group and we did the Mind Peer Support Facilitators training. So I completed that a few years ago, and I'm actually now in the process of becoming a volunteer for PLUSS.
To me, the benefits of using the peer support group is firstly, it's being around like-minded people who have been through similar, but in some cases different situations, but they have the understanding and compassion and empathy, which is very hard when you're around friends and family who haven't experienced such issues. So the main benefit is the fact that the people I've met have been absolutely lovely, and the support workers who run the groups are amazing too. So it really is getting the best of both worlds and getting out in the open and lovely fresh air and chatting and socialising in a safe yet open environment. But above all, it's created lovely opportunities and experiences, and with things being so depressing for me in many ways, it's given me something positive to look forward to every couple of weeks.
Thank you to Erin and Chris for allowing us to follow them on their seafront walk. Now we are joined by PLUSS change coach Jackie Lasser, who is very used to supporting and guiding people who might be struggling with everyday life. Hello, Jackie.
Hi, Podge, how are you? Nice to see you. It's been a while.
It has been. I'm well, thank you. How are you doing?
The sun is shining. How could I not be smiling?
Give it back. We want it back.
sorry. Up here in the north, we haven't seen that nice shiny thing for quite a while. So if you don't mind, I'm keeping it, and I'll send it back across the border in a while.
Oh,
if
you
that's
know what?
all right with
just,
you.
Just because you called it the border, that's lovely. That's fine. Jackie, it's lovely to see you again. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
Could you tell us just a little bit about your role at PLUSS and the kind of people you support?
So I joined PLUSS in December 2020. I was self-employed for 20 years and lost my business as a result of the pandemic, and was absolutely thrilled with joy to find this role because it allows me to use my learning and development experience and my coaching experience to support participants that are either exploring the possibility of being self-employed or have already decided that they want to be self-employed for a multitude of different reasons. And that means that the kind of people that I work with as a specialist coach, they could be people who want to be self-employed purely because it's what they want to do. Maybe they've tried getting jobs and because of various things, they feel they're not having much success. So they'd like to explore self-employment. I work with people who've got no idea what they would like to do and people who'd like to be self-employed but no clue what path that could take. And I also work with people, as we all do in Positive People, with mental health, physical health, mental and physical health challenges, and also people with caring responsibilities, either for children, parents or partners, for whom self-employment is a really good gateway to opening the door to better opportunities for themselves.
So quite a busy bee then?
Well, and on top of that, as we're going to be talking about later, because I really enjoy doing them, I also run workshops for PLUSS, both for existing and potential participants, but I know we're going to touch on that later.
So just a little busy, just a little bit.
And you know, we're talking today about mental health and time to talk. I've also moved from 5 days to 4 days a week because I became self-employed because of my health. I didn't know what was wrong with me. We only discovered that a couple of years ago, but I knew that I needed to manage my time better. And I've recently dropped from 5 days a week to 4 days a week in order to manage my health better. And that took me quite a while to do. It took me a while to empower myself to have that conversation with my line manager. But it does mean that the 5 days have become 4 days, and it's nice to be busy, Pudge.
That's lovely. I'm really glad that it's working well for you.
Thank you.
We're obviously all probably guilty of doing this, and that's sending a message rather than picking up the telephone. I'm definitely guilty of that. What do you think has happened to the art of a spontaneous telephone call? Are those days over?
No, well, you see, when Claire and I were talking about questions for this, and I brought up the art of the spontaneous phone call, because here's the thing. I don't mind declaring how old I am. I'm 61 in a couple of weeks' time.
And looking
this
good
month,
for
actually. It. Oh, bless you. I wasn't fishing for compliments, but now that you're saying I do appreciate it because I feel really lousy today. I've been awake since 2:30. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. But the art of the spontaneous phone call, I guess because I'm from the era that I'm from. You know, the first business that I set up in Thailand 30 years ago, I had no mobile phone. It was too expensive to call London. I set up a business for Oxford University Press, and I used telex machines that we had to make a telex tape to send a message, you know, you know, and I talk to people about IT and comms, and they, you know, a telex machine could just as well be a carrier pigeon. You know what I mean? So, you know, I come from the era of rotary dial phones. Oh my God, I should be admitting that. I really should be admitting that. But
my gran used to have one. Yeah, I can use them. I've sidetrack, I know. I've seen videos of people trying to use them online and not having a clue what they do.
Oh, they're hysterical, aren't they? Those things that go back. But you know what? In all seriousness, the whole thing about a rotary dial phone, and we're sidetracking here, but I know that's okay. We had a 9-day internet outage where I live at the beginning of December. And of course, I work from home permanently, but with so many people working from home, and there's no mobile phone signal where I live, you're a little bit stymied, really. And I thought to myself, it was at the time that there'd been that massive storm up north, and so many people were without electricity. And I was thinking, well, I haven't got the internet. I'm sitting in the car to do my work. and this, that, and the other, because it's difficult for me to go to the office because of COVID. And I thought, at least I've got electricity. And then I realised that if I didn't have electricity, I have no internet. I actually have no landline phone because that's connected to the electricity now. And of course, I wouldn't have access to the net without getting in the car and going and finding a mobile phone signal. 21st century problems, I know, but nonetheless. So I mentioned this to a friend of mine who's slightly older than me, and she reached up. We were talking on Zoom. She reached up into her kitchen cupboard, and what did she take out, Pudge?
Was it an old rotary telephone?
It was but it was a new style rotary phone that would work with the current system, because she said, Jackie, I'm like you. If we have a power outage, no mobile phones and no ways to contact anybody. So I thought, note to self, I need to try and get one of those. But, you know, when we had that era, I mean, even when I first started my self-employment business, I'd been working in the Maldives when the internet was connected there, dial-up. We had dial-up here in England, you know, where I mean, Pudge, do you even remember dial-up when you used to get that dialing? Do you? Oh, good. I'm glad I'm not sounding like a dinosaur here.
I think so. When I think I was, not even my teenage years, and my dad got into computers, and I was starting to follow on at that point. And my goodness, I hated the dial-up internet so much. Oh God,
just waiting for that watery. Do you know what, Pudge? I think I'm actually going to hide behind my fan here because I'm beginning to feel really old. But anyway, in the era, of course, of analog communications, and let's come back to the art of the spontaneous phone call. You had no option really, did you? Just picked up someone. Hi, Pudge. How you doing? We didn't even say, hi, Pudge, have you got time to talk? Because it was a given that if Pudge was busy, you'd say, hi, Jack, sorry, can't talk right now. Can you call back? Right. And then we get into this internet world, and then, we move from dial-up to broadband, and now we've got super fast broadband. And, goodness me, what do we do, when we haven't got that, particularly when we're working, because we rely on this kind of technology. And then we get into the realms of Skype. I started using Skype when it was first developed in my business because it saved me a fortune and stopped me from flying around the world for meetings. So that was a good long while ago. So don't get me wrong, I'm not a complete dinosaur. I am quite tech savvy. But, we go from Skype, then we move into various other kinds of VoIP. Then we've got Messenger, we've got WhatsApp, we've got Signal, we've got Telegram, we've got TikTok, Snapchat, this chat, the other chat. And what has it led us to, even before the pandemic? Hi, Pudge, are you free?
Silence.
It leads to send the message before you call. Now, I work alone, and because of my health, I do spend time alone, and I love a spontaneous phone call. And to put that in a little bit of context, I had a big birthday last year. Now, Pudge, you're a clever man. If I'm 61 in a couple of weeks' time, I'm quite sure you will know how old I was last February.
You were 60 years young?
I was 60 years young, Pudge. I will love you forever, my darling. I was 60 years young, and it was lockdown.
Oh, of course.
Right?
Of course.
So, okay, lockdown. You've got to get on with it, right? It was astonishing. From about 6:45, because I've worked all over the world apart from the Americas, and I've lived all over the world apart from the Americas. I have friends all over the place, including one working in Antarctica at the moment on a contract. So from about 6:45 in the morning, right the way through to about 11 o'clock, way past my bedtime, it was phone calls. It were landline phone calls. Wow, I never get a landline phone call. It was calls on my mobile that come over Wi-Fi calling. It was calls on all the different channels that we use these days, and even spontaneous video calls. And you know what? I am so blessed because that carried on all day, and I even landed up having my lunch and my dinner on video calls with friends. Oh. And none of those calls, the reason why I share that is none of those calls were planned. They were all spontaneous. And in truth, I had a higher degree of social contact on my birthday than I would have had if it hadn't have been lockdown.
Wow, that really does say a lot, doesn't it? And even the way you're speaking about it, I can see your face lighting up.
Yeah.
It shows how much pleasure can be derived from just having an actual phone call rather than these messages that you're waiting for. You can't actually hear the person.
You're absolutely right. But you know what? We, as part of this same initiative for PLUSS, I recorded a podcast yesterday with my colleagues Maxie, Laura, Charlotte and Rich, facilitated by the wonderful John. And we were talking about what we do to deal with stress in our lives. And I'll link back into that in a minute, because it links nicely to that last piece that you did on the walking and stress. But I put on the table, one thing that I really love is a spontaneous phone call. And one of my colleagues said, "Oh, not for me, thanks. I like to have notice." And that is a really, really relevant point that I wanted to make sure that I kind of threw out there today, Pudge, that we all communicate in different ways. We are all in very different spaces in our life, and we all have unique and different communication preferences. And just because I love coming on TV, doing radio, doing podcasts and having spontaneous phone calls, doesn't mean that everyone else does. And something that we're always conscious of as coaches is we need to find the right way to communicate with the people that we have the privilege of supporting on Positive People in BBO. In the same way as in our lives, we often don't think about it, but we do create preferred forms of communication with friends and family. Does that make sense?
It does, and I actually want to link into that, if that's right, because you've caught me onto the next question. So, what other methods could people consider then, if they don't find talking easy? Because, like yourself, I know a lot of people who don't like talking on the phone, or maybe just don't like talking at all.
Absolutely, and that's where this gift of, so many channels now for communicating through the written word, through email, through all the various platforms like, we've mentioned before, Messenger, WhatsApp, Skype, Viber, and so on, a Telegraph, Signal, and of course, iMessage and all the rest of them. There are so many ways for us to do that, where for people for whom spontaneous conversation is very stressful for any number of reasons, being able to have a planned and thought out, double-checked conversation through the written word, even if it is in real time with chats going back and forth, can be a fantastic way of connecting. And also what I found during the first lockdown, I just started working on a long-term contract up in London in my own business, which of course came to an end after 3 weeks because of the pandemic. And then I was advised to close my business because of the pandemic, and who knew when we were going to see a way out of it. And I found myself in lockdown, not very well, mental health a bit all over the place, like it is for so many of us then and so many of us now. And I discovered, and it was through Facebook, Eden Communities, which are part of the Eden Project. They're, in Cornwall. They have the Eden Community. I started doing just online community conversations every week, workshops, connections, a way to get together with other people. And Pudge, it was absolutely fantastic, because you're at home, you're not talking to anyone. Yes, you're waving at neighbours over the garden fence and, having the odd, phone call over the phone or whatever. But this was something that was so lovely to look forward to on a Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember what day it was. And there are lots of initiatives going on like that. And the beautiful thing about those is, we can join those as and when we want, camera on or camera on. There's also a wonderful initiative, before we talk about empowering women, which is one of our initiatives, called Kindness by Post. And I'm such an advocate for this. I, again, discovered it in the first lockdown. And Kindness by Post is an initiative run by the Mental Health Collective. And they call it like a Secret Santa by Post. Oh. And it's where you register, and they have initiatives quite a few times a year. And you basically sign up to send a card to someone. And you will receive a card from someone. And the way it works is your anonymity is protected. You never give your surname. You will be contacted to say, would you like, now we're doing the Valentine's Kindness by Post, which is not about romance, it's just about spreading good vibes. And you get asked if you'd like to register for that, even though you've done many before. I've said yes. And on February the 9th, I will be advised who I will send my card to. And you receive a card back. And quite often those cards are handmade. And sometimes people write poems. The first one I received, Pudge, the lady said to me she had not picked a pen up and written to anyone for years. Wow. And could I please excuse her wobbly writing? Oh, and on my own computer over here, in her card, and that was nearly 2 years ago, was this. Can you see that?
Oh,
maybe you can't.
It keeps blurring out the black on it.
It keeps blurring. Oh yeah, because I've got the background on. Okay, it says "You're awesome."
Aww.
And you open it up, and inside it says there is only one you, and you're important, which is a quote by Chuck Swindoll. I have no idea. I just know this person's Christian name. I don't know where they are in the UK or the world, indeed. It was the UK because it had a UK postcard. But that was in there.
That's beautiful.
And I keep it on my own computer so I can see it every day. And that is a way of communicating in a different way. And sometimes, you know, I just think maybe that card is the only card that person receives all year.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really powerful communication.
It just shows that that you have still got these ways to talk to people, regardless of how society has gone on. And it's such lovely initiatives like that really do just they do mean something to people.
Totally.
And it's so lovely that you can do it anonymously, and you can get into it whoever you are.
Absolutely. And every time I do it, I go out on my own social channels and say, hi people, I'm talking about kindness by post again. All it takes is this. And every time I do that, another couple of my friends will sign up. And that's how you spread the ripple effect.
Perfect.
Isn't it?
Absolutely.
Which I think is important.
Jackie, I want to keep talking to you about this, but sadly time ticks on. I'm going to move on to what you mentioned just a moment ago. We're talking about PLUSS and they're running some great workshops for women, I hear. Could you tell us a little bit about these and what the benefits are that people can expect?
Okay. So empowering women, I think the reason why it's good to have this on the table when we're talking about time to talk, I was invited to get involved in developing, facilitating and delivering empowering women workshops, which was an idea of a couple of our community coaches that used to work on project with us. And this was basically to bring women together, to provide them with a forum, a safe space. We do it on Zoom, a safe space to talk and to realize that they're not alone in the world. And the way that we set it up, we create a very safe space. My boss would love to know what goes on there, but he can't observe because he's a man, so he can't come in. And if anyone does want to come in and observe because they're new to the business, they can come, but they join as a participant. And like I say, we're halfway through the fourth one, and we're planning the dates for the 5th series in April. And you know what we've discovered, Pudge? And this is without blowing any of our trumpets of any of us who are involved. We have realised that, you know, this is a space for people to come together. And we do have structured workshops. You know, we have things like transferable skills, silencing your inner critic, climbing out of your comfort zone. But, you know, at the beginning of every session, I always ask people what they'd like to achieve, and we always link back to it. And most importantly, at the end of the workshop series, it's 6 workshops, we gain feedback. We have sort of like a little bit of a participant feedback board on, you know, what have you achieved? What could we be doing better? And what would you like to see for future women that intend empowering women? And what we have realised is, and I always say this to participants, I said it last week, you know, we could be talking about how to put up wallpaper or how to cut the grass, because the feedback that we get is, yes, people take away those skills, but the biggest gift of this workshop series is being able to connect with other women in similar situations, in a safe, non-judgmental space. Sometimes ladies come along, their cameras are off and they don't talk, or they talk through the chat box. And over time, by the end, they might be talking with their camera on. And actually, we had one participant that landed up on Chaos TV with us.
Oh, wow.
And that is because we empower our participants to communicate by the space that we set up. And as with any workshop or any form of coaching, as facilitators and coaches, we provide knowledge, skills, experience, advice and guidance. but it is only as effective as what somebody does with it. And, you know, we obviously measure hard outcomes. You know, we have targets on positive people like any business does. But so often it is those soft outcomes that make such a profound life-changing impact in many ways, you know, in everything that all change coaches do, whether on workshops or outside of workshops in the one-to-one coaching that we do. It is providing that space for people to talk. And because we offer one-to-one bespoke support on positive people, and we don't have a ticking clock, you know, the clock ticks for as long as the program is running and funded. That means we have the time and the space to support our participants, for us to listen to their needs, work with their needs at their space, and to encourage those that are not comfortable to talk even, to talk and communicate and feel safe. And that is one of the very, very special things about positive people, is that we have that gift and that opportunity to spend that time with people to help our participants talk and to, you know, go forwards on their journey to creating better opportunities. So that's not just within empowering women, although I would say the biggest feedback we get is, wow, it was great to be able to talk. But it is with everything that everybody does on positive people in our, you know, in our 4 territories. And it's a very special program because of that, Pudge.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so really lovely to listen to you and just hear how passionate you are and how much it's helping people, to see that, like you said, the empowerment, to see people going from talking just on text to maybe talking a little bit. It shows how much that must be working. Jackie, I would love to talk to you more about everything we've been talking about. It's always lovely to chat to you. But I have to say that is it for us, I'm afraid. But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Look at the time, Pudge.
It's flown by.
Aren't we on the money? It's 13:50. I've done 10 extra minutes. And here we are, right on the money. Pudge, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you do on Chaos TV.
It's a pleasure, Jackie. Lovely. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for everything you do. And hopefully I can talk to you again soon.
I look forward to it, Pudge. Take care.
Lovely. Thank you, Jackie. That is all we have time for in this week's SEETEC Plus Hour, guys. If you want to catch up any of our features for the hashtag Be Kind to Your Mind campaign, then go to the Chaos TV YouTube channel where you can find all our features. Now, if you've missed any of this section and you want to catch up, or you want to find any of the details given out by our guests today, or the videos, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us here at Chaos and we will signpost you the way forward as well. 01872 2288 44 is our WhatsApp and our number to call. Please get the bill payer's permission before you do so. You can also email us on hello@thisischaos.co.uk. We are across all the social media at Chaos TV UK, but please use the hashtag KeepItChaos. And of course, you can catch us on Mixcloud. Go to watchchaos.tv and click that Mixcloud button. You can watch us while chatting to us and chatting with each other. It's absolutely great.